How's it guys, JP again from Pulse Pythons. Today I want to do a feeding video, but like I mentioned in my previous video, we don't do live, not on purpose over here. I don't like doing frozen thawed for the simple reason is it's time consuming, and with the amount of snakes that I have, to go and defrost 200 odd rodents on a weekly basis, I don't have the time for it. So I do what we call fresh kill. So I would go and fetch out the rodents that I need, and then I will obviously euthanize them. We use sort of a soda stream, and it's got a tube linked. So this uses the CO2, but it is also food grade. Us as humans obviously consume it, and it puts them out of their misery quickly. I just think that they don't suffer as much. I know that sort of the SPCA prefer sort of dislocating the neck, cervical or whatever. I don't like that. I don't like the whole bunch of blood. It just doesn't do me. So what I do is I'll show you now the rodents I've got and what I'm going to be feeding today. And also I'm going to be going through some of my holdbacks. I'll be talking about them once they've eaten, and then sort of a reason on why I've kept that holdback. So basically what we do is I use a bucket such as this with a lid because it's quick. The more you put into the bucket, obviously the quicker they pass on. Once I put them all in, there's a mixture in here of rats, mice and African soft furs. And like I said, I do a mixture of all. My snakes, bar one, my one female will only eat rats. She won't eat ASFs whatsoever. But my others, my holdbacks, I sort of feed them mice, I feed them Maltese, African soft furs, I feed them rats, I feed them basically what I've got available. So I don't have any issues over there. I've got none of my snakes whatsoever are only multi-eaters. And you know what, maybe I've just been lucky. Everybody has their own sort of myth. With the once they've gone on to Maltese, they'll never eat anything else. I find Maltese are more nutritious, and obviously you'll see with my other videos why I think they're more nutritious. A lot of the big breeders out there are feeding African soft furs, and I just prefer it. Yes, they are slower growing, but they produce more. So they also eat less than rats. So for the amount of food that African soft fur takes to get to a weaned rat size, first of all, the nutrition is more. Second of all, yes, it's going to take maybe 4 weeks longer or 6 weeks longer, but that African soft fur has eaten less than what that rat has eaten to become a small or a weaner. And you're getting double your buck. Now, rats are more fat content. So obviously your snakes are going to also put on weight with the rats. There's nothing wrong with only feeding rats. Everyone to their own. I just like feeding a mixture, but I also like feeding African soft furs. To me, it's just much easier to breed. They breed wonderfully, they eat less, it's cost efficient, and I've always got food on standby. So here in South Africa, a lot of people have now, last year, everybody was against Maltese, and it was all about once they go into Maltese, they won't change. This year, a lot more people are breeding Maltese and keeping it in their collections. So without further ado, I'm going to basically show you the process of what I do to get my rats and Maltese and that all euthanized using the soda stream with the food grade CO2. Literally on the inside where the little section goes into the bottle, I'll just put a tube. I've got the little tube at the end, and then obviously you push the top button, and then that puts the CO2 into the bucket. I do about 4 squirts, and depending on the amount that's in the bucket, they should be completely gone within around about 30 seconds. They're lying at the bottom. Then I leave them for around about a minute to 2 minutes just to make sure they've all stopped moving. So if you do see a rat or a mouse that's still it's concussed but it's still moving, that is only because it's got the last bit of nerves. So not only is it better for me to feed my snakes this way, I've got absolutely zero chance of a dead animal biting my snake back. Some of my snakes are 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 Rand. I don't have more money to buy more, so I try and look after them as best I can. So when you see again, I'm going to give you a quick zoom over with what I do over here. Then I'll go back onto there, and we'll go through a couple of my hatchlings. See you in the next one. Alright, so for the purposes of this video, I've got my little lid. I'm just going to put this out the way quick. Then I have obviously the rats and the Maltese. What I like using is a rubber tipped set of tongs. So it's just easier to grasp the animal. You don't get bitten. It almost hugs the animal. So just put them in. A couple of pups. Some mice. So it's a nice combination of what I'm putting in. And with the rubber tips, it also doesn't hurt the animal. I just find it so much easier to work with. They don't get too scared with it. And then they are obviously inside. So as you can see, it almost hugs it inside, not hurting the animal. And the last one, check the sawdust. Right. So I've purposely used a dark bucket. I don't want to do any sort of visual showing on YouTube of the animal suffering or dying or anything like that. So basically what I do is I run my tube. Remember that the CO2 is heavier, so it sinks to the bottom. I will then put the lid on and I will push my CO2. Right, then I remove the bottle, I call the tube. Then I don't open the lid at all for around about 30 seconds to a minute. Put that out the way. And then when I get back onto this video, everything in here should be dead. And then I'll start with the feeding. I'll bring the camera closer and I'll be putting each snake out individually, talking about that snake and then obviously letting them feed. I love watching my snakes eat. It's obviously never a nice thing to take another life, but for the sake of the hobby and for the sake of my animals and what they need, obviously that is a necessity. So when we get back, all of these will be passed on, euthanized, and we'll start feeding the snakes. See you now. Right, so as you can see, every single one of them now have passed on. Can you see there's no blood? It's just so much better. I find it so much cleaner, and obviously they are soft. So perfectly feed my snakes. Everything's 100% perfect, and we'll start with the feeding. Just so you can get an idea of the sizes that I'm feeding. So on the side here is sort of a small or weaned rat, and then obviously from there it is just past pup stage, and then obviously I've got some pups, some weaned Maltese, and I've got some sort of adult mice that I'll be feeding as well. So let's get on to the feeding. Alright, so as you can see, I'm going to start, obviously do the whole clean, wipe my table down, and then get on with the feeding. So the first snake we're going to do is a Mystic Potion male. This is Mystic and Mojave. He knows food is ready. So when you're looking at him, around about a mouse size, and immediate. He's taken his food. Now the reason why I'm keeping the Mystic Mojave male is, well, the Mystic Potion. First of all, his patterning is a little bit different to the Mystic Potions that I've seen. And also if I breed him to a bell, then, I mean, he's a bell, so I should get basically all bells. And that is one of the reasons why, obviously, I want to do the Mystic Potion, to do Blue-Eyed Lucies. I want to make the Super Mojave. I want to make Super Mystics. I don't like Super Butter too much, but then obviously all that. And then I've also got Russo, so I'll be making Blue-Eyed Lucies with all the different ones. So that is the Mystic Potion boy. Right, so this is a pastel pied male. He doesn't have any eyes. So what I do is I first offer him a meal, and if he doesn't take the meal, then I have to assist feed him. But by assist feeding, I literally pick him up, hold him gently, just cup his head. I just literally need to get it into his mouth, put it in, and he'll bite down, and there we go. And that is the pastel pied, absolutely no eyes, and he's eating. He's my pet. Will never be used for breeding, but that's how we feed him. Next up, we've got a fire jester girl. Jester's a new gene, well, new, still needs to be proven out here in South Africa. It's an enhancing gene from what I understand. And if you look at this girl, she is absolutely beautiful. Before I even feed her, I just want to have a quick show of her brother. So this is a firefly jester. And if you put the two together, you can see the enhancement that's actually come out of these. Right, so for the size of her, I think she'll go for a rat pup today. Do you want to eat? Food for you. Thank you. And that is our fire jester girl eating a rat pup. She's nice and fat. Next up, we've got a super stripe. This is one of the girls, so obviously we want to keep this girl back. She is something amazing. Obviously, it's part of the yellow belly complex. She's smelling her food already. I want to give her a bigger meal. Beautiful. And there she eats. Right, then I've got a hypo girl. Also one of the girls I bred last season. Out of the 3 that were born, she's the only one that survived. The others didn't make it. But I'm so happy just to have her. She also eats anything. So if you judge by the size of her body, this isn't a meal that's too big for her at all. Beautiful eater. See, I use the rubber tip tongs as well. Then we've got a fire 100% head clown. Small girl, give her a multi. Immediately. So I don't have any issues with them eating. Then thanks to my friend Roland from Repti, he's given me this beautiful blade 100% head clown female. And I like to give her a mouse. As soon as they smell it, they normally take. Want some food? If they don't take immediately, I don't normally hassle too much. But most of the time they take. And there we go. We've got a beautiful pastel clown girl here. Also one of my favorite snakes. And alright guys, so that didn't work out as planned. At least I got a few of them in. But obviously I was recording here and didn't realize that my phone had run out of storage. So I didn't get to show at least about 15 of my animals with regards to feeding. But at least there's another one for next time. Where we can show those ones eating. I mean, I fed off quite a few today. But anyway, so you saw the basics of how I prepare my meals for my snakes, and I do that for the adults as well. I don't like giving live unless I really have to. Use it, don't use it. It's totally up to you guys. But guys, seriously, please like, subscribe, follow us for more. We're also going to start a Patreon soon. I'm just not 100% sure yet because I don't want the funds for us. I want to actually find some sort of a charity or something reptile related for the Patreon funds to go to. I know it's a bit soon to start that, but you know what? You've got to start somewhere. So go out and have a look there at the Patreon /pulse_pythons and join us there. More videos to come. Guys, have a lacquer day.